We are coming to you live from $1 Million Studios. Your boys, Chris Speez,
a.k.a. White Vinegar.
And the benchmark of professional wrestling, Mr. Silky Baines.
That would make me ketchup because, you know, that makes everything better. And you're white. So, you know,
Speez at the benchmark show.
British people put vinegar on shit.
On a Monday night, January the 7th, 2019. We thank you so much for being with us, everybody, on Periscope and over on the YouTube.
It's one of my best works.
Yeah, it was not one of your better efforts, but that's okay. Thank you all for being with us here tonight. We appreciate that. And we appreciate you joining me earlier for the watch-along of the Revival's failed attempt at winning the Raw Tag Team Championships. We'll get to that here shortly because shit seems to happen all the time. Outside the first hour of Raw was a tough watch, says Scott Frame. Well, we'll see. We'll dive into that a little bit. We'll also talk a little Wrestle Kingdom. Wrestle Kingdom 13 this past weekend. Some Impact news from last night, although Silky and I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but we're up on all the happenings and such.
Impact.
Well, that's not to say Impact's not an enjoyable watch.
Is it?
Well, I don't know. I didn't watch last night. Maybe it was. It could have been. But we'll talk about that if you like. We're going to leave it up to you folks because it's your show. We're just here. We just facilitate is all we do. Yeah. So thanks to all of you again over on Periscope for sharing the program. We hope you will continue to do so. And if you want to chip in to the cause here, you can either leave those super hearts over on Periscope or you can hit us up on the... Sorry, go ahead.
Baba Rusi giving you shit. He's here for the card openings.
I know. I fucked it up again. The stupid thing on Restream, it kills me every time.
Jody, what's up? You
can jump in on the tip jar. tinyurl.com/SB tip jar if you want to pitch into the cause there. Because as Silky likes to say, we need to pay the bills or something like that.
No,
right?
These bills need to be paid.
I know. I wasn't gonna steal your line.
Well, you might as well. You fucked it up.
Well,
just like you. Jesus, you have one job.
Yeah, you have one job. Come up with clever nicknames, and your ass comes up with ketchup tonight. What is that shit?
Well, ketchup for me, that was admittedly not one of my best works, but white vinegar sounded good.
It's a goddamn abortion and a disgrace.
I'll give you that. That was not one of my best ones.
No, it was not at all.
I mean, you try coming up with something black for me and see how long that you could stretch it out.
Oh, believe me, I got plenty of shit. Just from all the stuff that but you know, it would take me about one show. Thank you, Get the Tables. We will have a great show tonight. It's off to a rousing start, let me tell you. Thank you for the Super Hearts. And Juanito, thank you for the Super Hearts. So yeah, thanks to those of you joining us. Sorry, I saw the comment about Bama getting their asses kicked, but yeah. So it goes. It happens from time to time. But we're here to talk some wrestling.
Yeah, and that you only had one job. One job, Chris.
This is full on shenanigans because Silky knows I have many jobs on this program. Silky has one job: come up with ketchup. That was his one job.
And white vinegar. Don't forget that.
That's right. The co and main event of Homecoming was yeah. I heard about the kind of fucked up finish to. Blah, 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 blah.
The Impact
cage match. Sorry, God. My head is
get on it, Chris.
You know, my kid is not feeling well tonight, and so things were kind of thrown into disarray.
Don't use David.
It's true.
No, I'm not saying it's not true, but I'm saying don't use him as an excuse.
It's not an excuse. It's just my normal preparation was thrown off somewhat.
Was it?
Popping open a cold one here. Just Dr. Pepper, for those of you concerned about the fact that, you know, I don't normally drink. Yeah,
no one cares.
Not, but I appreciate that.
Wait, look. No, he's not drinking.
Thank you, Mac Diesel. Thank you, Lit Mantis, for the Super Hearts. We appreciate that. It made Brian Cage look really bad. Yeah, I heard about this. So tell the people, I spoke to you about it ahead of time, how they involved or how they fucked up the finish of the Impact pay-per-view main event. Brian Cage, for those of you who don't know, versus Johnny, whatever he's calling himself now, Johnny Impact, for the Impact Championship.
And apparently, from what you were telling me, they had the people that were his castmates on Survivor come.
The Survivor crowd shows up to distract Brian Cage and allow Johnny Impact to get the win.
And to which I said, had someone not said it, I wouldn't even know who the fuck they were because I don't watch Survivor to even make that. I think they grossly overestimated how popular Survivor is in 2019, I guess you could say.
Or is this just that looks okay? Or is this just one of those things where Impact kind of screwed the pooch again? And yeah, the finish was the shits, says Get the Tables. If I had the shits, I don't like stealing sounders from other shows. Dr. Huge is it's the shits, but apparently it was the shits.
That's a wrestling term. That's not Dr. Huge term.
Well, but
We use that
using
shit
the
all the
sounder,
time.
not to say we can't use the phrase, but to use the Bret Hart, it's the shits. It's a Dr. Huge thing.
Actually, my trainer would say it's the drizzling shit.
The drizzling shits.
That's
So
when it's
apparently
really
it was drizzling shits. I got a massage from a lady with a Get These Hands shirt on. I don't know if that's just Mac Diesel being witty or if that's a really cool massage lady, but
Hey.
either way, it's pretty cool. So let's talk a little Monday Night Raw to start. And, as we advertised, hello to you, Brooke, over on YouTube. As we advertised earlier on Twitter, big story from tonight, as far as I was concerned anyway, I don't know if others will agree, was the tribute to Mean Gene Okerlund. Of course, we spoke about this a little bit last week on our show, on our Thursday night show. And WWE, for all of their flaws, and there are many, their production team, their video production team, and the packages that they put together, whether it be for upcoming matches, whether it be these kind of retrospectives on wrestlers and announcers, people like Mean Gene who have passed away, whatever the case may be, their production team is out of this world. And I think tonight was just another example of how good they are. I thought the Mean Gene piece was fantastic. I mean, and the overall, you guys in the chat room, feel free to chime in. But from what I was seeing on Twitter, shit, even people managed to, some people, I mean, there are obviously going to be people who are still on their self-righteous high horses about Hulk Hogan and refusing to watch anything that he's a part of. But I thought even Hulk Hogan did a good job, and that seemed to be the consensus on Twitter as well. I want to throw this over to you, Silky, because you and I spoke about this ahead of time, and I said this to Silky, and I'll say this to you guys in the audience. There is no, in my estimation, there's no equivalent word or phrase or insult, because Silky would have come up with it by now.
Well, honky.
For white folks,
Cracker.
that holds the same weight as dropping an N-bomb on a black guy.
Well,
and so I can't profess to know what that's like, or when it's time for me to just say, you know what, he said something stupid, it's time to get over it. I don't know. But having said that, Silky, tell everybody what you told me before the show in terms of your thoughts on Hulk Hogan being there as a part of this tribute to Gene Okerlund.
Because I speak for black folks.
Well,
that's why you're asking
on
me.
this show you do, because in case you haven't noticed, there's only two of us, so go ahead.
But I thought that I understand why. Because regardless of what he did, you can't have a tribute to Mean Gene Okerlund without Hulk Hogan. I mean, just as synonymous with him being in the ring is Hulk Hogan saying, "Let me tell you something, Mean Gene." Like, you can't have it without that. So I'm willing to look past, because that was the perfect person to do that tribute. I mean, right now people are just up in arms because we talked about this off air, and if Hogan was in his prime when that tape happened and when he said what he said, nobody would think twice. They'd sweep that shit under the rug so fast. I mean, your ability to survive scandals in sports happens to directly correlate with how good you are at that sport.
Couldn't agree more.
We talked about it, your Roethlisbergers, starting quarterback.
Ray Lewis.
I
mean, that fucking guy is about as guilty as they come, or at least helped his homies get away with it and didn't do a day.
These people still had jobs after that. But then, and this is not a political, it's just a fact, Colin Kaepernick. If Colin Kaepernick was the Colin Kaepernick that took the 49ers to the Super Bowl, that Colin Kaepernick
would have a fucking job right now.
Yeah, he'd have a fucking job. Because
that's right.
As much as people hate the protest or whatnot, they love the money they were making off him taking their team to the Super Bowl.
Couldn't agree more.
But once you outlive that, then it becomes a big deal. So, but for this case in point, I thought it was great to have Hogan there. And, it's still Hulk Hogan. Like I was telling him, I would still, as a black person, and I know he's probably not too friendly with my kind, I would still love to meet Hulk Hogan because it's fucking Hulk Hogan. It's like the equivalent to meeting the fucking president.
Yeah, you go to Silky's house, and a gift that was bestowed upon him by a friend of ours, he has it displayed in his house. A signed boot.
From Hulk Hogan.
Hulkamania yellow boot from Hulk Hogan displayed at his house.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, Just like you're not going to speak for all black folks, I'm not going to speak for all white folks either. I'm with you in terms of there's really no other guy that you could have. I mean, you could have other guys there, but in terms of the guy with the biggest impact with regard to having words to say about Mean Gene Okerlund, the list starts and ends with Hulk Hogan. That's it. Yeah. That's all there is to it.
Exactly.
So, you know, that's
you can have a discussion on the wrestling Mount Rushmore, which we should probably do one day. Your top 4 guys. But I guarantee you the only name that won't be disputed being up there is Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
You can make arguments for The Rock and why The Rock should or shouldn't be on there. Stone Cold the same way. Bret Hart, Ultimate Warrior, Ric Flair. You can make arguments to dissuade someone to put either of those guys up there. The one you can't make an argument for is Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Let's get to some of these comments here. Mean Gene will always be my childhood, says Young Raph. Totally agree with you there. Never thought I'd see a tepid reaction to the Hulkster. Yeah, you know, it was a little bit subdued at first, but then we got the Hogan chant going and everything like that. And what I really appreciated, and I saw several comments about this on Twitter, you always have to concern yourself with this to a certain extent because it is Hulk Hogan. He didn't make it about Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, he did.
And I really appreciated that. He to his credit, that was a Mean Gene segment, and he let it be about Mean Gene. And yeah, he worked in his stuff, of course, but that's because, again, his stuff is synonymous with Mean Gene. So that's the case. Yeah, Terry Bollea or Bollea, however you say his last name, and his tiny penis, but Hulk Hogan, of course, giant penis, as we know from from the trial and such. I mean, Ray Lewis didn't do nothing. He was framed, says.
Of course, Raven's Blood.
Of course, someone named Raven's Blood would say so. But
he did that shit.
Yeah, I'm not so sure I'm buying that one.
Oh, wait. No, because I don't want to come up missing. Ray Lewis didn't do that shit.
Yeah, no, it was fine. Hogan said it. Oh, excuse me. Hogan made it worse when he said, "Screw those guys who don't accept my apology." Yeah, and that's true.
That isn't.
Dr. Huge says it rather bluntly that the public nowadays wants people who transgress, especially when it comes to things like race or gender, to come and suck the apology penis, as he says it, publicly, and basically, you know, kowtow to the public and say I'm a horrible person and I'm terrible and no one should forgive me, and then we can forgive you. And Hogan pretty much didn't do that, and I'll be the first to admit his quote-unquote apology was a shitty one. I mean, there's no question. I'm not arguing Hulk Hogan being a swell guy or Hulk Hogan being somebody that, you know, you'd want to hang out with. Doesn't seem like a very personable guy, you know, if you're not on his level. And he certainly doesn't seem to be a very personal guy with the brothers.
Yeah.
But
really? You gotta say brothers like that?
With the brothers.
Fucking racist, man.
Exactly. See, there we go with the racist again.
I'm doing the show with fucking Hulk Hogan right now.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Hogan did get kind of a weird welcome.
See, Michael Berry even said, feed is working now because Silky's here.
Yes, that's right. That's right. The feed was not working the other night.
Imagine my fucking surprise. I'm at home and I see Periscope notification. I'm like, why the fuck? We're not going live. This must be old or something. I click on it. Sure enough, it's Chris by himself. Didn't even say, hey, Silk, I'm doing another show. Now, I want you to
imagine what would have happened if I would have called Silky on the phone and said, hey, Silky, you want to come sit here and watch me open some fucking wrestling cards?
I'd be like, that's some white ass shit to do. But
exactly.
But
some white ass shit. What's white ass shit, Silky? What constitutes white ass shit besides inviting you over to open cards, which I didn't do, and now you're bitching that I didn't do. But you're saying would have been white ass shit if I did.
I'm a very complicated person.
Which is code for full of shit. But go ahead. Yeah.
I may not like what you're doing, but I like to be. Doesn't mean I don't want to be asked.
I see. So you want to be able to.
I want to be able to decline. And tell you that's some white boy shit.
Okay. Did Brock F5 Hogan like the good old days? Unfortunately, he did not. Mac Diesel, glad to hear you got your Braun Strowman Funko. And I also got a Twitter message from Jody Mania saying that her T-shirt came in. So congrats again to those of you who won your prizes over the New Year's break.
And going to what Ravensblood said about Hogan apologizing for getting caught. Everybody fucking apologizes for getting caught. You think any of these people who have to make public apologies are actually apologizing for the horrible or stupid shit they did? No, they're apologizing because they got caught and they don't want to fuck up their money.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to pick on you, Ravensblood, but that's a comment that I never quite understand when people say he only apologized because he got caught. I don't know of one person who comes out and publicly apologizes and says, you know what? You guys didn't know this, but I dropped a couple N-bombs, talking about the girl that, or the guy that my daughter was dating, and I just wanted to apologize for it. Nobody fucking does that. So, of course, they're going to apologize when they get caught. Again, Raven's Blood, I'm not picking on you. It's just, that's one of those phrases that's kind of worked itself into the vernacular, like, oh, he's only apologizing because he got caught. What the fuck else does anybody apologize? It never happens.
If I didn't get caught, then I wouldn't be apologizing because it means I got away with it. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, back to
banging his friend's wife.
Yeah, which was odd. Yeah, it was very odd. That whole thing. There's a documentary on Netflix about not the whole scandal in particular, but basically how Hogan all but bankrupted.
No, he bankrupted Gawker.
Gawker, yeah, because of
they went out of business.
That trial, and he dropped the fucking hammer on him. Silky, that's racist. See.
What's racist?
I don't know, but Brooke says something you did was racist. How you like that shit?
Well, I'm black. I can't say anything racist. That's how it works. It's double standards.
This is why we don't get into these types of conversations.
It's double standards. Just live with it. Yeah, but
we always have fun with it.
Back to the you were talking about the documentary. If you really want a detailed description of what happened with that, go to your podcast app or wherever you listen to your podcast and listen to, it's called Legal Wars. Okay. And it's a 3-episode arc. It's pretty bad. The information's good, but it has Hill Harper. I don't know if you know who he is. You probably don't because he's a black actor. Anyway,
I don't know any black actors.
He does.
They all look like Denzel to me. That's all.
But he does the narration, and why? Like, it's great information, but some of the he does it terrible. Like, he's probably the one person in the world who cannot do a Hulk Hogan accent, like talk like Hulk Hogan, but yet he tries to when these many reenactments throughout. So that part's quite entertaining. But they go step by step of the trial, the aftermath, and how he became to bankrupt this company, and it wasn't just like a him thing. It was he got with someone else that was also having issues with them, and he used their finances to bankrupt Gawker.
Well, Jody knows who Harper Hill is. He's a great actor.
Yeah, he is a great actor.
Probably one of those guys where if I saw him, I would go, "Oh yeah, I know that guy."
Probably would. I'm trying to think. I know he's on a CSI, one of those CSI shows.
All right, fair enough. Well, I don't know, and I don't mean to be flippant about it, but I don't know what else we can say about Mean Gene that hasn't already been said. Yeah. We spoke about it at length on our previous show, and yeah, it's a sad thing, but I think WWE did a great job. I think Hogan did a great job, regardless of what you think about him personally. The segment itself I thought was very classy, and I thought, as usual, WWE knocked it out of the park. So I thought they did great there. Now Michael Berry Sr. is picking on you a little bit, Silky. We're gonna take a step back very briefly to Wrestle Kingdom 13, because Michael Berry Sr. is saying how those picks go, Silky.
They went great. I got all of them right except for the. I'm not counting the pre-show because if WWE doesn't fucking count it, I'm not counting.
And actually, I did go back and you did miss one more.
Which one?
Because if when I went back and watched the show, you actually did pick Juice Robinson to lose to Cody. You actually had Cody going over in that one.
Oh, I did? Yeah. Okay. So I missed I got all but one.
Yes.
Still better than you.
Overall thoughts on Wrestle Kingdom. We're going to keep this short because we want to get to Monday Night Raw tonight. But overall thoughts on Wrestle Kingdom for anybody who's chiming in here that wants to talk about it after the fact. Hello, Dr. Huge. Thank you for the Super Hearts.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Michael Berry, what he's doing is he wants me to give him the credit because of his idea made me change my pick to Tanahashi.
I see.
And
that's what it was.
And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do that because I'm me. I picked it. It's all on me. Because what you said didn't even happen.
That's true. Tanahashi did not join the Bullet Club.
So technicality means it's my pick. So boom.
Anything that Silky can do to put himself over Michael Berry, you got to understand, as a regular viewer of the show, you'll start to recognize this. I deal with it on a fucking twice weekly basis. Overall, I thought the show was very good. I felt like the one thing that was missing was there wasn't one match where I looked at it and I went, holy shit, that match was just absolutely outstanding. Usually there's at least one match where you go, man, that match was just so fucking good. And not to take away from the main event. I thought there were a lot of really good matches. But as far as at a show like that, you hope that you get an all-time classic, one of those matches that you can go back and just say, man, that match was totally off the charts. I thought the main event was very good. I was surprised to see Tanahashi go over in the main event.
Yeah.
I thought really the only turd on the card was Cody and Juice Robinson.
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
a fucking...
That was goddamn horrendous.
And Mantis said it. That was the shits. I mean, that match was absolutely horrible.
I don't know what happened with that match. Because to me, from a wrestling standpoint, it didn't look like one of those where Cody was just phoning it in because he knew it was his last match and he had to drop his title. It just looked like it was one of those matches where legitimately everything they did just fell flat with the audience.
Absolutely. And look, I'm gonna full disclosure. I don't like Brandy Rhodes. I don't see any use for Brandy Rhodes. Brandy Rhodes is an eye candy manager, and that's just me being blunt. But that's a fact of the matter, and she's over with a lot of fans because they like Cody Rhodes. It doesn't have shit to do with her being black. That's what she's an eye candy manager. That's exactly what she is.
But that's generally what a female. That's the whole purpose of having a female manager.
That's totally fine. Be an eye candy manager. When you start crawling into the fucking ring and laying on top of the guy, and New Japan does the shit where they just pretend like shit doesn't happen, and the fucking spear.
Okay, and the spear was
that she tried to give Juice Robinson, and I'm trying to picture Juice Robinson having to sell a spear to 120-pound Mandy Rose in front of 60,000 people at the Tokyo. I mean, Brandy Rhodes, whatever the fuck her name is.
Oh, because she's black.
Because she says "fuck the revival" all the time. Because I keep getting fucking gifts sent to me of Brandy Rhodes saying "fuck the revival." Like, what the fuck, Brandy Rhodes? Get out of here. But anyway, that shit was just. It didn't work at all. When she got sent to the back, there was no reaction from the crowd at all. Like, they just didn't give a shit.
I don't think that was her fault. I think
good to know that hot black chicks are over with the lit man. That's good to know there.
But I don't think that was necessarily all her fault, because it's a different culture over there. Because when that spot's done down here, the ref is very fucking animated about get out of here and stuff. And the person who's got kicked out is freaking out like, what the fuck? And then the guy that they're managing is freaking out. So you have all these people freaking out, and the ref is just trying true, like, get out, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
It gets over. There, the ref was just like, out. You out.
Yeah, he didn't sell it. Didn't sell it very well.
On the broadcast, remember where they were like, well, is he just kicking her out the ring?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't very, evident that he was actually kicking her out.
Yeah, Kevin Kelly and Don Callis didn't do them any favors.
Even Brooke said, is it because she's black, Chris?
Stop it. See, here we go again. I got blocked by Cody for goofing on Brandy's bad wrestling. See, okay, I mean, that's fine. I get it. If somebody was goofing on my wife, maybe I'd block him too. I don't know. It seems a bit silly, but we're on the internet. People are going to give you shit. Like, get over it. But anyway, unless Brandy does have a bionic metal shoulder like Ravensblood said, that spear was awful. Her getting involved in the match was awful. New Japan's, tendency to just kind of say fuck the rules and just ignore things like countouts and disqualifications, except when it's convenient.
They're counting. It's just, New Japan is like a 20 count.
They're not counting.
It's a 20 count.
There's so many times when guys wrestle outside the ring for literally 4 to 5 minutes, and the referee doesn't even start a count. No, I swear to God. I can't remember which show it was, but I went back and watched and actually timed it. And it was 4 minutes and 45 seconds, and the referee Rich Hughes didn't even start the fucking 1 count. Like, they just say, fuck it. It doesn't matter. And it's, to their credit, the announcers will say, obviously Red Shoe's going to let a lot go here because he wants to see this settled in the ring and so on and so forth. But if you're going to have the rules, fucking apply the rules. That's how it is. Yeah. Is Cody the shits?
I don't think so.
I'm much more impressed with Cody. I was much more impressed with Cody. We got to see him live and up close.
Yeah.
When Ring of Honor came through San Antonio last year, around this time last year, and he's very impressive in person. Mm-hmm. Like, in person, live, I thought he was great. I definitely got a better feel for.
And he was also there talking about how hot Brandy was live, and then he comes on the internet and says, oh no, I don't like Brandy. Fuck her. She's terrible. But you were drooling.
She's eye candy.
You were drooling though. You weren't saying all this when she was there.
No, I don't think I was drooling over Brandy
You were
Rhodes.
drooling. You were literally drooling.
There were
There
were much hotter women there than Brandy Rhodes. But anyway, we digress.
I don't know about that.
Naito taking that DDT from Jericho on the table was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Again, nitpicking here because I thought it was a good match. I thought the Naito Jericho match was good. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was good. But I mean, shit, dude. If you're gonna have spots like pile drivers on the fucking ramp, and then the match goes 15 more minutes after that, or spike DDTs off the table, and the match goes 20 more minutes after that, it's like, goddamn, guys, like it's just moves don't mean shit over there. It's just like,
yeah, I mean, that's in all wrestling though.
Yeah, it's certainly gotten to be that way. Cody loves having Brandy involved in matches all in. Yeah, that's true. I remember she pretty much did the same thing, kind of crawling and laying on top of him and all in.
But, it's actually dropped the elbow, which was awesome.
Which was pretty awesome. In my opinion, his chemistry has improved since his first year or two on the Indies. Yeah, I mean, Cody he strikes me as more of a throwback kind of guy. The shit that you see in Cody Rhodes matches are things that you would see in old school WWF NWA matches. And he, that's what he was brought up on, I'm sure. So that's probably why he does it that way. White guys love Asian chicks, Silky, usually. There's exceptions to every rule, I suppose. Jay White and Okada was another good one, yeah.
Yeah, that was a really good one. I like the story told there, and I like how Jay White beat him in the middle.
Great finish.
Yeah, great finish.
I thought the finish worked. I really thought the finish worked out well. And Ospreay and Kota Ibushi kicking off the show with a really solid match as well. So that was good. He has more of Dusty's brains.
Like Asian chicks. Is that for me or Chris?
Oh, I think he's talking to Dr. Huge. I think you like Asian chicks. As you, as in Dr. Huge.
Oh, okay.
Dusty's brains and Dustin has the ring work. That's Babaruski. I can't remember if you were the one that said that on Twitter or not, but somebody said that. I thought that was a pretty interesting take.
I think
that it seems like Dusty, Goldust's a hell of a worker.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes is a hell of a worker too. It's just, I don't know, something about him doesn't do it for certain people, and that's okay. So, Wrestle Kingdom, all in all, again, great show, solid show. Interesting to see where people go from here. We've already seen Kushida say goodbye to New Japan, as was expected. He'll be coming over to WWE, and speculation is going to run rampant now. It seems, obviously we know that Cody and the Bucks are headed to All Elite Wrestling. A&W Root Beer Wrestling, as Dr. Huge calls it, or A&W Wrestling, whatever he calls it. Kenny Omega is the guy that everybody seems to want to know what's going to happen next, so we shall see. Again, we can speculate here, but it's all just guessing at this point.
Yeah.
Folks seem to be saying he's getting offers here, he's getting offers there. I also read earlier today that there was a rumor that both Ray Phoenix and Pentagon got offers from All Elite Wrestling, which then prompted Impact to give them a lot of money, offer them a lot of money. And then All Elite came back and tripled that offer to try to get them to come to All Elite. Again, it's all speculation, folks. This could all be bullshit. We have no idea at this point. So we tend to kind of play the wait and see.
Yeah, because I know that I was listening where they said that he put out a tweet talking about, that he wasn't making excuses for the loss to Tanahashi, and that he still feels like he's better than Tanahashi, and maybe one day he can get a rematch, but he was like, for now I have to step away. But he's trying to make it seem like he's stepping away from wrestling in general.
A lot of people were saying it seems like a work, and
yeah, no, it's 100% a work. So I don't know if he still stays in New Japan, or I think New Japan still might be the place for him, because
very well could be.
I would love to see him, and I think Kenny honestly could go WWE, because with All Elite, I think he'll have more freedom, obviously.
Sure.
But it's almost like I think he wants to have that thing that he couldn't do. He didn't make it when he was first with WWE, signed, at Deep South Wrestling. I think now he wants to even just prove to himself that he could cut the mustard there.
Yeah. Well, and not to mention the fact, again, You know, guys, you can hate on, and props to you, Jody, and I tend to agree 100% with what Jody says. I don't care where Omega goes as long as he's happy with his decision. Look, I've said this about professional athletes. I will never hate on a guy. I mean, I'll be pissed if he leaves my team, and I might bitch about it and so on and so forth. But in reality, I'm not going to hate on a guy for getting paid. Yeah. And if Kenny Omega coming to WWE means he's going to make a shit ton more guaranteed money for less dates and, you know.
You would have heard wrong, NoFX fan.
Whatever. More power to him. I'm that's fine. And to everybody who said, oh, WWE is going to ruin Kenny Omega. Look, they fucking strapped a rocket to AJ Styles from the second he walked in the fucking door at the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
And
guess what?
He's been at or near the top of the fucking SmackDown Live, of SmackDown line ever since. So I don't buy for a second that WWE is just going to automatically ruin Kenny Omega. I think he would do just fine as he came.
Yeah, I think he would too.
Just to tidy up a couple things on here, the folks are asking, were we surprised about how short some of the matches were?
A little bit, but it was also welcomed.
There was an announcement that Wrestle Kingdom will be two nights next year. So perhaps this is the last year that we'll see those types of short matches, because we'll see Wrestle Kingdom over 2 nights next year, the 4th and the 5th, I believe. So
yeah, and
probably get back to those long matches.
We decided to watch it when we did over here instead of going to my house and watching the Access, because I went home just to check and see, and it was 3 matches. It was the Juice Cody, the Jericho Naito, and then the Tanahashi Omega. Nothing else.
I heard DZW offered Kenny a huge contract. Well, yeah. Is that the one where you said he clearly heard wrong?
Yeah, clearly heard wrong.
It's going to be hilarious watching Triple H pedigree Omega and then pin him. Yeah, we'll see. Thoughts on Priscilla Kelly? I don't want to get into Priscilla Kelly. I'm pretty sure that's the chick that took out the tampon, the used tampon, and jammed it in some other chick's mouth. Look,
I mean, and I don't know. We don't know because we weren't there to see like exactly if it was actually used. Because a lot of times they'll put stuff in just to have that. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's used or not. I mean, it's still pretty fucking gross.
Yeah.
Like to do, but I mean, this is the wrestling business where I've literally seen Joey Ryan pull a blow pop from in his trunks and stick it in a dude's mouth.
Many times. Many times. Yeah, so look, I mean, at this point, I'm not going to get up in arms about it any more than I'm going to get up in arms about people lighting themselves on fire and fucking diving on people and rolling into the crowd while they're on fire, or trying to jump off the top of some fucking barn 2 stories up and missing the table and face planting onto the fucking concrete.
Or the... You're talking about the one where he did the 450 and cracked his skull?
No, I'm talking about the guy that said he immediately thought of Jim Cornette as he hit the ground, and he was trying to throw an elbow from up on
the black dude that like literally overshot. Like
it was horrible. It was
way
horrible.
Way off.
So at this point, it's nobody's gonna talk about this shit 2 weeks from now. She's getting her 15 minutes, and more power to her.
I mean, is it worth it? The way I look at it, because some of that stuff, like, you're not gonna be, if your goal is to go WWE, you don't need to be doing that shit.
No.
If your goal is, I mean, and don't get me wrong, you can make a lot of money on the indies where you don't need to go to WWE and work less dates, make more money. But
I don't know if you make more money in WWE, but you make sure.
I mean, depending on.
Priscilla Kelly ain't making more money than what WWE folks make.
Yeah. No, make more money. I'm talking about individualized, which means you can make more money. Like me, I can make more money on the indies than I would make at WWE.
You think you can make more money on the indies than you would?
I'm using that like just to give you context of what you, because of the fact at WWE, not everyone's a star, right?
Yeah, no, I got you.
A lot of people go to WWE, they'll get signed, and they'll get the minimum whatever they're offering, but they're not getting used. Whereas on the independent level, if you've got your name up, you can pay them whatever you want. $500, $600, $1,000, $2,000, depending on where you're going. People will pay you. So that's where I say, I'm meaning on the individual, you can make more money on the indies, depending, because some people are clearly stars,
No.
And clearly WWE is where they need to be. But that's not everybody.
No, you're absolutely right. And again, I'm not going to, just like I said it earlier about Omega potentially coming to WWE, I'm not going to hate on people making money. And if goofy shit like that makes people money, then so be it. But, that's also indicative of the shit that goes on in wrestling nowadays. I mean, I don't know what kind of houses bar wrestling is fucking drawing, but
it's not big because they run it in the bar. Like, it's mint. It's kind of like down here.
I get it.
ACW.
I get it. Yeah.
They draw like maybe 50 to 100 people, but that's all that can fit in the place that they run because they run a small for that purpose. Yeah. So, and when I see Baba Russi saying half the signees did funny shit. There's a difference between,
like having a fucking dance off like Ricochet
dance
did,
off or
which was fucking silly as well. But that and shoving a
tampon. Just think about of those people who made it, like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. They may have done funny shit. They didn't do shit like that.
Yeah.
You see, Joey Ryan's not in WWE.
Yeah, I don't think you'll have a sniff at it. And Brooke, you're right. Getting back over to Brooke over on YouTube, we said Kenny Omega could very well have a rocket strapped to him like AJ Styles. She says it depends. Look at what happened to Finn Balor. There's a guy that you would expect to come through. Finn Balor's rocket got strapped to him in NXT.
Yeah.
I mean, Finn Balor had a spectacular run in NXT. And, it hasn't translated into the main roster. Although,
he had a good run on the main. Well, not a good. He was starting to have that good run because had he not got injured, he probably would be up there now, still be up there now.
Probably so. Probably. And we said it last week, or somebody mentioned it on their, I think it was Get the Tables, mentioned it on their podcast that Finn Balor, I think, was behind Seth Rollins. Mm-hmm. And only Seth Rollins in terms of wins, televised wins on Monday Night Raw last year. Now it's Monday Night Raw, maybe not as much on pay-per-views and such, but it's not like Finn Balor. There's this impression out there that Finn Balor's just been buried.
I mean, he 100% has.
I don't think he's been buried.
Because think about this. I mean, you got to look at the competition. A win versus fucking Elias at the time or Baron Corbin.
He brought the demon back for Baron Corbin. That's how big that feud was.
Bullshit. That was stupid. Anyway, I don't like that shit. But a win against those guys and Seth Rollins fighting with Brock Lesnar and fucking Roman Reigns and beating him and Dean Ambrose, you can't compare.
Yeah, no, I'm
you know what I mean? Just because he won just as many matches or more matches, however the stat lined up, look at the guys he was facing.
He's there. He's on TV. He's on TV regularly. He's on TV winning regularly. That's pretty fucking good in my estimation.
And what did that translate to for him?
What do you mean? What does that translate to for him?
Exactly. Nothing.
He's still one of the top guys on Raw.
Is he?
Of course. He was just in a tag team with fucking John Cena and Seth Rollins, for crying out loud. The two biggest stars, arguably. Yeah. On Monday Night, well, Cena just walks in and automatically is the biggest star because he's a fucking 16-time champion. That's the way it goes. Let's talk about John Cena's return for a little bit. So, Cena came back very first segment tonight and declared himself eligible for the Royal Rumble because he's John Cena and he can do that. But other people do the same shit.
I never understood. Like, I get because it's 30 people. I mean, you'd have to do it like 2-3 couple months in advance of qualifying matches to get 30 matches. But at the same token, it's just an age-old trope of just walk up, here I come, I'm entering the Royal Rumble. And okay, what have you done to really earn that?
Yeah, well, and the other thing was, Drew McIntyre comes out at that point. And I was very excited about the direction things were going to go when I saw Drew McIntyre come out there until we ended up with another 6-man tag team match, which is fine. But, ideally, I thought John Cena, Drew McIntyre would have been something interesting because at this point, fans probably didn't want to see it because they'd see John Cena just burying another guy. But, look, I like the fact that Cena's at least going to be around until the Rumble. And, he stated it very clearly that he doesn't have any intentions of sitting on the sideline and watching another WrestleMania come passing by, which, of course, he didn't end up doing last year. But for all intents and purposes, he was there as a fan. doesn't have any
that was so bad.
intentions of doing that this year.
Who thought that was a good idea is what I want to know.
I don't know.
Him like
Somebody
jump
did.
the guardrail and run down. I mean, and it was after I think the Oscar Charlotte match. So you saw this great match, and then you saw that bullshit. And
Well,
you're like,
it was
what
great
the
for Undertaker fans. If you,
fuck? It was terrible.
It was not terrible. Somebody
was
asked a
terrible.
question there. Our chat froze up over here on the screen.
Okay, let's see.
Should be right above. What happened? Blah blah blah. Something or other.
What happened to the Royal Rumble entrance being a surprise? Well,
You'll still get some surprises.
you'll get some because they don't ever tell you all of them. But for the most part, I think that there'll be some like, Jericho lost. So there's of course, the rumors that Jericho can do a one-off for the Rumble. And where's the Rumble at? It's in Phoenix. Yeah, there's no one big from Phoenix I can think
Doesn't
of.
nobody jumps out at me from Phoenix there. What's up
So-
with John Cena's hair? He's losing it. Listen, as somebody who's in
Rocking
the same boat,
Yeah.
you just gotta fully commit to the bald look, Cena.
Yeah.
Or just go back to that thing that you had going before, where you got the little mop on top there, and
Yeah,
shave it all the
should.
way around.
Definitely should, because that is goddamn horrendous.
Yeah, Jericho hates one-offs, apparently, says Bob Aruski. Well, he said he wants to challenge Tanahashi for the title.
Yeah, he did.
We shall see about that. So, Cena coming back, I think, is a great thing. Say what you will about John Cena.
It depends on how they use them.
Yeah, I mean, I always enjoy him being there. I enjoy him on the mic. His matches have become formulaic, but look, I mean, there's so many superstars nowadays that are even main roster guys that are regulars on the show whose matches are very formulaic, and we tend to forgive it to a certain extent because it's only a couple years of it being formulaic instead of a decade of it being formulaic. The Bellas are from Phoenix. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mike Drop. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, the Bellas are from Phoenix. See, no one cares.
Don't say that.
That's another Jurassic
sure
Park,
people do.
remember?
John Cena's hair deserves its own Instagram page.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Peck and Rod pulling HBK. Well,
What I've heard, have you seen anything on Twitter? I've read that EC3's been like calling out John Cena on Twitter.
I think that's a bad look for EC3 because I think EC3. I don't see John Cena. I can see John Cena putting over a Drew McIntyre or putting over a Braun Strowman or, somebody of that caliber. I don't know, unless they've got really big plans for EC3 and he's just
It's got to
showing
start
something.
somewhere.
It's got to start. Hey, look, it worked for Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens came up
little
from
bit.
NXT and had a fucking phenomenal feud. That was a feud of the year, in my opinion, when Owens came up.
Only thing I hate, I mean, they surprised everyone with giving Owens the win in their very first encounter. Then every other encounter was John Cena winning.
I thought he beat him twice. I thought he beat him once, and then he won the title from him at some point, and then he gave it back.
No.
Okay.
I
thought he won the U.S. title from him, and then
nope, he beat AJ to get the U.S. title.
Guy AJ. Okay, got you.
Yeah, so it just depends on how it's booked. I mean, I think again, EC3 can be up there and can, if working with someone like John Cena, that can put him on that next level, because the good thing is he can afford to lose.
This is true.
Now, of course, with the internet fans, they'll say if he loses, they'll say, they're just burying him for Cena. But I think that EC3 isn't quite like Kevin Owens was a big deal when they signed him. It was a big deal. EC3, not so much. So,
and again, part of that was due to the fact that
he went to Impact.
He happened to come on board with some other rather big names.
Yeah, and that was another thing we talked about. So I think a great showing against John Cena, even like one of those matches where he takes him to the limit, but Cena finds a way to pull out the win, can actually help him.
That's fair. Yeah.
Because what we want to see is that, Clemson won.
Good to see Clemson. Congrats, national champs again.
But what they want to see is that he's on that level. And that's basically what he wants to prove. And whether he's heel or face, he can go out the next night on Raw or SmackDown, whatever show he'll end up at, and just be like, I took the 16-time world champion to the limit. I proved with that one performance that I am on the level of a world championship caliber athlete. Yeah. And so it will, I think that could be good, is what I'm trying to say with that. I think an EC3 John Cena feud could be really good and will be really good for him.
Well, we'll see what they do with it. I personally think that there are guys that would be in line before EC3 to get matches with John Cena. Well, any of the guys that I mentioned. Drew McIntyre, I would much rather see John Cena against a guy like Drew McIntyre prior to that.
I wouldn't, because if he's going to put him over, then yeah. But that's I think Drew McIntyre's conversely at that point where if he gets into this match with Cena, a loss would hurt him versus EC3, where a loss, win or lose, all he's doing is, as a new guy, proving that he's on this guy's level. Yeah,
I just think that Cena, to me, would command higher profile guys. And I say command not as in,
like demand.
Like demand. I just mean that, with John Cena, you'd more than likely, in my opinion, see him against higher profile guys like a Drew McIntyre, like, I guess, a Bobby Lashley, because they seem to be, very high on Bobby Lashley. There are guys like that you could see. Miz versus EC3 would be good. Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. Cena Cesaro's just not going to happen, no effects fan. Cesaro's just not going to do anything as a solo guy.
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem to be
Brooke thinks
happening.
the Iconics should win the Women's Tag Team Championship.
And that's why we like Brooke, because I love the Iconics.
Yeah. And
people don't like their promos.
It gets kind of old, but I think that they're an actual tag team and they've been functioning as a team longer. Like, that's the kind of downside. They need to start trying to snap up women's tag teams, or at least bring women in. Like, you can go to the indies and get a couple of women and package them off as a tag team. Long as the WWE fans first see them as a tag team,
right,
they're considered a tag team. That's kind of similar to the Iconics. So that's what would, in my opinion, would give the Iconics the edges, because since NXT and up in the main roster, so a couple years, they've been functioning as a unit.
I agree. And we'll get to the tag team shenanigans tonight.
You see how good that it did the Revival, though.
Mm-hmm. As usual. Before we get to the Revival, let's talk about, somebody mentioned Bob Aruski, about this Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar segment. Now, look, man.
Oh, my God. What the fuck was that?
There were some real bad segments on tonight's Raw, and this was one of them. Look, I
think it's in the running for worst.
It was really bad, and that's saying something, because when you have a guy like Paul Heyman there, you would at least hope that he can bring some semblance of meaning to the fucking segment. But my God, it's just, listen to those. Don't send Braun Strowman out there to cut promos by himself. It's just the guy.
No, he can cut promos by himself.
Short and sweet.
But here's the thing: he can cut promos by himself, right? I have no problem with Braun Strowman's promos, but he's not. Don't send him out there where he's trying to be quick with it. And you can't be quick with it, and I can see the fucking light bulb, the gears turning as you're fucking thinking about some snappy comeback. You know what I mean? You need to put someone like, using in this case, like a Kenny Omega, who would have a snappy comeback for everything Brock says. People like that, like a Seth Rollins is also really good at that, where he can goad you in. Because the whole point, I'm assuming, was going to be for Strowman to try to goad Lesnar into getting in the ring to fight.
Yeah.
But he was saying generic wrestling promo 101 stuff like, you're a coward. Who gives a fuck if you think he's a coward? He's the fucking champ. Like, that was the thing, that Brock Lesnar is the fucking champ. So if I want to fight the fucking champ, and he's not trying to fight me, you don't just call him a coward. This is not the 1920s where you called me a coward.
That's right.
And I take my glove off and
we
slap you.
Duel, yes.
Yeah, this is not that.
Yeah.
I'd start talking. You talk on a personal level. You know what I mean? Like, you you're a coward. I guess we know who wears the pants in your house. I'd mention Sable. You know what I mean? I mean, I might get killed. I mean, I would clear that, make sure Brock's okay with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, you know,
would definitely do that.
Silky ain't no fool. I'm a very tough guy, but yeah, Silky ain't no fool.
Welcome to you, Zen Chugs. Good to have you in here for the discussion. Yeah, Brock did look like kind of a goof. You can see the smoke coming out of Braun's ears.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it was so bad. Like, that's not what you do.
Well, and the other thing is, you know.
And then the long pause is like, I'm thinking, you're a coward.
Yeah, it was not good.
Yeah.
It was not good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
For fuck's sake, Samoa Joe went after Brock. Why not Braun? Yeah, exactly. And
that fat bastard, you call him Sloppy Joe.
Sloppy Joe went after Braun. You know, Silky said that as we were watching it earlier. Like, why doesn't Braun just hop out of the ring and go kick the shit out of him? Like, what are we doing? Yeah, it was just an odd segment. It was very strange.
Because, I mean, that would be another.
They're
like,
not doing anything to sell me on the fucking match.
Yeah, that would have been an easy fix because Brock Lesnar is not the type to run away.
No, he's not running away from anybody.
Like, he'll make a strategic retreat, but like if you come down, he's got to show at least that he's not scared of you. And so if you start getting the better of him, he can make that strategic retreat. That's a lot different than I get out the ring and you start running.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to fight him, obviously, to me, it's like, obviously you don't want to fight him because you stayed in that ring just thinking.
Yeah, didn't make a whole lot of sense. Speaking of not making a whole lot of sense, the top guys are still not the fucking tag team champions.
Oh, that was great.
It was not great. The good news, I think, is the fact that they very clearly got screwed again. Now, I don't know if the screw job a couple weeks ago was definitely like on purpose.
I mean,
we definitely had them pin the wrong guy so that the Revival could come back and say, oh, they pinned the wrong guy. You know, we deserve another shot. I don't know if that's the case. This one obviously was very clearly they got fucked over. And so you know they're going to get another shot. And it's probably going to be at the Rumble. You got to think that they got to have some kind of tag team match at the Rumble. They'll probably bury it on the fucking pre-show, even though that was one of the only entertaining matches on Raw. I can't think of another entertaining match unless you enjoy watching Sasha Banks fucking kill herself.
Yeah, that was
trying
funny.
to do some kind of fucking hurricanrana out on the apron.
Assuming that she was supposed to do the hurricanrana, but since Nia was on her knees and also a big bitch, you know, she would smack her face on the apron really hard. But I don't know what happened, and because she went off and like fucking ate it on the floor, and Nia just went down like all gentle and shit.
They're not the top guys. They don't stand out. Their names are Scott and Dash.
That is true. That is their names, and they don't stand out.
Thanks for the what the fuck? They don't stand out.
What stands out about them?
That they're Did you watch the match tonight?
Yes, I did. Watch the match.
They carried fucking Bobby
Bullshit.
Roode. They
Get the
fucking
fuck
carried
outta
him.
here. Fuck outta here,
Chad
man.
Gable with his flippy flip shit. It's
He
like I'm
did
watching the fucking Lucha House Party all over again.
He did
fucking
one
Revival,
fucking flip.
Real fucking tag team wrestling.
Oh my God. Get the fuck out of
Psychology,
here.
working together, fucking fundamentals.
Fuck out of here, man.
Out the ass. They're fucking phenomenal. What are you talking about? Not to mention the fact that they even mention in their own promos that they are the pure tag team, old school tag team. We work together. We work as a team. We're not a couple of failed fucking solo artists like Chad Gable and Bobby Roode that get thrown together so the fans can go glorious and fucking sing the song. Which is the only reason those fuckers have the titles in the first place. If the Revival had a little happy little song you could fucking clap around to or some piñatas and shit, then they'd be the fucking champions right now. But they're not because they're actually a fucking serious tag team.
But
We have room
Scott
for
Dawson
serious
was
tag
a failed
teams on
solo
Raw.
guy in NXT. So fuck you talking
What
about?
the fuck are you talking about?
Remember
Scott Dawson.
Wait, first of all, I'm gonna need you to know your
Revival.
facts.
The
I'm
Revival.
gonna need you to know
baby.
your facts before you start all jumping
Listen,
on
I'm
what
not
he
talking
said.
about fucking NXT back fucking 10 years ago.
How come when it's convenient to your fucking argument,
It's
you'll
not-
throw up, oh, they're two-time
What the fuck are
NXT
you
tag
talking
team
about?
champions. They're two-time
Here's the
NXT tag
difference.
team champions.
Here's
But
the
when
difference.
I put out something from
Because
NXT, oh, that's in the
they're a
fucking
tag
past.
team.
Fuck
and
out of
they're
here, Chris.
Still a tag team. Whereas 6 months from now, nobody's gonna even fucking remember that Rude and Gable were a tag team because they're gonna be back to their failed fucking
gonna
solo
remember?
careers.
All the people who go to Wikipedia and see them as tag team champs and don't see the motherfucking revival.
They're gonna see the top guys holding the fucking belts over their heads.
They're
for
not,
fucking
because
record-breaking time.
record-breaking
when
what?
people-
Record-breaking first fucking time?
Record-breaking time, as in they're gonna hold those fucking titles. They're gonna challenge the fucking. I'm saying it right now. Bold prediction. Revival are gonna challenge the fucking New Day's record for the longest tag team reign because Raw's finally gonna get serious about tag teams. They're not gonna put up with any of this bullshit anymore. And you play as many funny little bits as you want, but the top guys are gonna take their spot.
God!
Yes, absolutely.
No, God, please, no!
Yes.
No!
Yes.
No!
Yes, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen because they belong. See, Young Raf says the Revival are the best. He knows what's up.
They are a great tag team. I'm
Thank
not
you.
taking that
That's all
away.
I'm trying to get you to say, Silky.
But
You get
that
all
shit
heated
you
and shit.
said
You want to
is
start yelling
fucking-
and get all upset.
That shit you said is fucking absurd. I love how
See,
when
Brooke
it's
agrees with me
convenient.
again. You see what happens all of a sudden, Silky? All of a sudden, 2019 is a new year. 2018, Silky just got to sit here and smile and make up funny names. Hey, big jar of mayonnaise. Everybody agrees with me. Everybody loves Silky. Now all of a sudden, 2019 comes here, and Speez is making it happen. Brooke's agreeing with me for crying out loud.
Because you got one person
You know
who
that
agree
shit
with you?
doesn't happen.
One
person? What are you
two?
talking about? Look at Jody. Jody Mania fucking loves the Revival. Young Raf, the Revival are the best. Brooke Jackson, I have to agree with you. Like I told you, I don't like
Gable's
Rude
an
and Gable as a
Olympian.
tag team. Good for him.
And he's a legitimate wrestler, and they look good as a team. And just
They look
bec-
good as a team.
But the whole they're two failed. See, he was a failed solo guy on the lowest of levels.
Who was?
Dawson. He was a failed solo guy at NXT before they teamed him with someone else who got injured, and then they started teaming him with Dawson.
And what did they do? They took the ball and ran with it and
No,
became the
actually,
most decorated tag team in the history of NXT. The only
First thing they did was
two-time
they
NXT
lost.
Well, I think the Undisputed Era did it twice. But
Yeah, Undisputed Era did do it.
Speez
twice.
is not going through the fucking table. First of all, this table would suck to go through, but putting me through my fucking table, not $1 million studios, no way. Our table,
Yeah.
$1 million studios, you know.
But first, they were a terrible tag team They were called the Mechanics for reasons.
What's up to you, Mark Will? Good to have you with us.
Then they became the Revival. They were all right. Their first run was fucking horrible.
It was not horrible.
It was horrible.
It was not horrible.
And then their second run was really good because why? They were facing DIY
Stop
and
it.
Authors of Pain.
Horseshit.
Guys that could carry them and make the match very entertaining.
Carry them. Yeah.
Yes.
They were great in NXT.
Yeah,
says
they were
Brooke.
great in NXT, but
That's not what you just said.
they started off pretty shitty.
You said that their first run was shitty, and
Yes,
their
their
second
first
run
run-
was only good because they got carried, and that doesn't make them great if they're getting carried by other people.
They're a good tag team. They fit the bill of a tag team.
They're a fucking great tag team. They're a great old school throwback tag team. They actually use teamwork. They actually work together. They actually have a plan. They actually
Are you
play off of one another as opposed to just, oh, let me get all my shit in and you get all your shit in and then we'll call it a day. Fuck
Rude
all
and
that.
Gable, do tag team moves.
They have that one little flippy move.
The flippy finish thing, I
Yeah.
think. They do other
You can't
ones.
even think of it because
Yeah,
that's
they
how
do, like,
fucking
the belly to back and one
non-memorable
grabs
that it
them.
is.
They do the rolling German into the neck breaker. So they do tag team moves.
Rival is one of the best teams on Raw, maybe in the world. Mark Will, I don't know where you came from, sir, but you're welcome in this fucking chat anytime. You come on back anytime, buddy.
Yeah, you tripping with that one. The best in the world. I mean, they are a good team. They're probably the best in WWE, but no, that's a low fucking bar. And primetime players are better than the Revival.
He's saying that shit because Get the Tables is in here, and he likes. No, he's not. That's not primetime players. He likes. Oh no, we lost our connection there. That's not good.
Oh, that's
Well,
nice.
you lost our connection. I don't know if.
Yeah.
if everybody else did or not. But we are getting close to the end of the program anyway. And I've had my meltdown about the Revival. I can't think of anything else of consequence on Raw. We had the Falls Count Anywhere match where Bobby Lashley got involved, and no title change there. Seth Rollins did not win the championship, as you would expect. Fucking Lit Mantis is just bent on getting me worked up here today. The Revival look like guys you'd pay $20 to see wrestle in a VFW. Oh, Lit
that's
Man.
good.
Just Speez wrong team. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. They're fantastic. The Revival suck, and the Bar are a better tag team, says Zen Chugs. Okay, we'll agree to disagree on that one.
I'd like to see that match though.
It'd be a great match.
It'd be a great because they're two great guys that could definitely carry the Revival.
Now, Raven's Blood says the Usos are the best in WWE. That's not a bad take. I think Silky would disagree with the Briscoes being the best.
Yeah, I would disagree with that. I'm not a big fan of the Briscoes. Like, there's nothing they did. I don't know. I just don't get it.
See, there's Young Raf coming to my defense about Lid Mantis paying $20 to see somebody wrestle on fucking VFW.
Millions of dollars. That was a great tag team.
Oh, Lord. You called... I know, Street Profits. I'm sorry. I got them mixed up. You know why?
Because they all look alike to you.
That's exactly what I was going to say. So you had to think from it. Wait a minute. They're all black guys. Yeah, because they all look alike to you. So
yeah, then Crime Time too.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. All right, folks, it's getting close for our quitting time here this evening. So, anything else to get out there for the people before we say goodnight?
January 12th, if you're in the Katy area or know people in the Katy area, send them to the Katie's Elks Lodge for DZW, and I will be punching someone several times around the facial region.
At DZ Wrestling on Twitter, dzwrestling.com. Or you can hit them up on Facebook, DZW Inc., which is where most of their announcements take place. Our good buddy Colony Soto over there, and the Benchmark will be in action yet again. So check that out and make your way down here if you can, because we would enjoy seeing you. Yeah. Who the fuck thought of that bullshit? Remember Make Darren Young Great Again? Yeah, I do remember that. That was pretty bad. Again.
That was pretty awful.
But the Revival will win. We're going to end on a positive note. We're not going to end on Make Darren Young Great Again. The Revival will get their shot, and they'll win. On
a black person.
And rest in peace to the great Mean Gene Okerlund. Great tribute to him tonight. It was very well done. So the Revival will be okay. On that note, we're going to say goodnight, folks. So for the Benchmark, Silky Baines.
Yo.
Chris Spizak, thank you so much for being with us, everybody. We will see you back Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central. Bryson Scott joins us here on the program. You'll get to know more about him over the course of the week. So check us out at Speez Benchmark on Twitter. We'll see you next time here on the Speez and the Benchmark Show. Good night, everybody.
Fuck the Revival.